What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's that time again. Welcome to another edition of the Backstage Slam Wrestling Podcast. And tonight, Josh and I from Semi-Core Studios, we're going to be breaking down or at least giving our WWE Royal Rumble 2020 predictions. Right now, I think WWE Worlds Collide is going on right now. I decided to put that off until later. I wanted to come home after my family and I go out for dinner later on tonight, so I can have something to watch besides the 8 episodes of the brand new season 3, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on Netflix. I don't know why they're shortening the seasons to 8 episodes for every big Netflix show, but I guess it has something to do with Disney dropping out of Netflix. I don't know. Maybe Josh and I can talk about that later on another podcast. But Josh, how you doing?
I am doing pretty good.
I kind of got spoiled by one major result from Worlds Collide, but that's all right. It didn't mean much to me, but yeah.
Is it the Cruiserweight match? Because that was killer.
Yeah, it was that, and I like that they gave Angel Garza. They replaced Angel Garza's title. It kind of looks like a hybrid between a middleweight the WBC middleweight boxing championship belt and the new Intercontinental Championship belt that Shinsuke has. It looks kind of good. I like that they changed the strap to black.
Yes. And I think it's still one of the better designed belts in the company.
Yeah. Definitely. So how's your week going so far? I don't want to just jump straight into it.
Okay.
We got to kind of ease ourselves in because, truth be told, this week, I watched SmackDown yesterday and Raw. For the first time, I watched it. The full show live for the first time in 6 weeks. Josh, it's getting worse. It's so boring. I don't understand it. It's like the same people that are getting all of the screen time, the same people that are in the main event matches to close out the show, or the same storylines. It from like 6-7 weeks ago. It's still going on. I don't get it.
Oh, this is where I'm supposed to, I don't know, defend the product and say, no, Ben, you're way off base because it's getting better on the build-up to the Royal Rumble because we're on the road to WrestleMania. Because I can't do that. I don't know what's going on. It's just been a really weird generation. That's the best I can do, man. I saw.
So I'm guessing basically you just watched the clips on YouTube.
Nope, not even. I saw that you said, "Hey, avoid Raw." So guess what? I avoided Raw, and I don't usually get around to watching SmackDown until, around this time. So I hadn't even watched that yet. But I figured, what's the point? We already know what the stories are going into Royal Rumble. And I just wish it was more interesting these days. We keep saying on a pretty consistent basis that the WWE has arguably, I'll throw that in there for the, pedants out there, arguably the greatest roster that professional wrestling has ever seen. That is something that can be strongly argued, no matter what era you think is the best. I'm talking about strictly from a talent standpoint. I don't think it's ever been better.
An embarrassment of riches, they say in the football terminology.
The biggest difference between this era and every other era that came before it is, look at the Attitude Era, right? The biggest boom the industry's ever seen. People said it's because of the Monday Night Wars. People have said that it's because of this, that, and the other. But what I think, this is my opinion, I think it was because they had, how do I put this? They didn't have the embarrassment of riches that they have now. Some people will say that they did, but they didn't. I don't think that's an arguable thing. But they knew how to utilize what they had, and they knew how to hide the weaknesses of the people with weaknesses. I mean, let's face it. The Rock, killer on the mic, good in the ring. Okay, maybe a bad example, but...
Well, basically, they had outside competition that they obviously wanted to be better than, and they were all competing with each other. Everybody was... I hate to steal a Vinceism, but you're most likely agree with this. Everybody was trying to grab the proverbial brass ring within the WWF. So it's like everybody was working together to put the other company out of business. But at the same time, everybody was pushing each other to be better. Everybody was motivating each other to be better. Everybody was fighting for that top number one spot. And now you just don't see that because guys were not getting paid as much money back then as they are now. And not only that, the creative team back then, it was more simplified. It wasn't just guys coming in from Hollywood TV shows writing these mundane scripts. It wasn't, and basically all of that has led to basically the entire PG era, just WWE going on relax mode and resting on their laurels. You figure with AEW being a thing, and they're not even competing with AEW. The main roster isn't even competing with AEW. It's just strange. It's like AEW. You only see NXT trying to get better when the main roster show should be trying to get better. I look at the numbers. AEW staying consistent for the most part, and WWE is just slipping and slipping and slipping.
Yeah, they're definitely not. I don't want to say they're not trying because I think the writers do put in an effort, but the roadblock that is Vince McMahon or whoever kind of filters out some really innovative things. That's a guess on my part. By the way, I of course have no insider information. I'll be the first to admit that. But that's how I feel when I see ideas come to my television and it seems like they've been heavily filtered.
Mm-hmm.
It just has that feeling that resonates with me, and I could be completely off base. But sometimes I think I see the makings of a really great story or a really great character, and then at some point it stops and it never reaches its full potential. And again, going back to the Attitude Era comparison, they back then definitely, and I mean definitely, utilized everything that they had on the roster. It's like, say you're hunting And nowadays, you kill this fine animal, and you're just taking the head and leaving everything else, right?
Mm-hmm.
Back then, they used everything. Nothing was left behind. If they had talent, it was going to be on screen. It was going to have a character. It's going to have a story. And whether or not it was good, because let's face it, I think the Attitude Era is a little bit remembered with very rose-colored glasses, because people think they didn't do anything wrong. There was people that think
other stuff. There was just other edgier stuff on TV that the FCC really wasn't going after all that much. You know, we had the Howard Sterns, we had the Jerry Springers, and anything in between, that sort of thing that was also going at that same time that was prevalent, and the FCC wasn't doing much about it, especially with the softer swear words and the scantily clad stuff, that content that was on all those shows. WWE was also incorporating that, so there wasn't as much of a censorship problem back then like it is now. Like, everything is more strict or more family friendly.
But saying that the reason it was popular was because they were more risque isn't really. I don't think it's fair to what they're doing now.
That was just the culture back then.
I don't think it was the raciness that made people watch for 2 or 3 hours a night, depending on what show you were watching. It was the fact that from top to bottom, something was happening. There was not a dull moment, because there couldn't be. Because if you did, people changed the channel. And that's going back to utilizing every piece of talent you have, top of the card to the bottom of the card, giving them something to do. And quite frankly, that is something that today's scene just doesn't seem to grasp, because there is so much wasted time and so many dead angles and dead ends on a standard Raw that it's like, yeah, I'm going to look at my phone, I'm going to change channel, I'm going to do basically anything else except watch this.
You're watching storylines that are rehashed for the 10th time, just with two different people slotted into the same storyline that you've seen 5-10 years ago. It's just mind-boggling. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to make any more excuses for WWE. They've only got one thing going for them, and it has nothing to do with Vince McMahon. I'll just go ahead and say that. Let's talk about the Royal Rumble.
Oh, is that happening soon?
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, you already submitted your picks?
I did.
I did not. I actually just started writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 just now in Discord, and I scrolled up and I seen you submitted your picks. I was waiting until the last minute to see if any matches were going to be added, and it's still the same 8 matches since this past Monday night.
It's not a bad
Shocking.
Thing.
It's not, but it is for the pay-per-view predictions group. Having to wait until Friday night or Saturday to post their picks, as having to wait until after Tuesday when SmackDown was still on Tuesday and they had all week. But I don't know, man. Like, our pay-per-view predictions league is dying because during the kickoff shows, which is usually when we disallow people for adding matches, they end up adding like 2, 3, 4 matches during the kickoff show. And and those matches either happen in the kickoff show and in the main pay-per-view. So I hope they don't do that, but I kind of feel like they're going to do that. I have a feeling that they're gonna have an intercontinental title match between Nakamura and Braun Strowman. I do honestly believe that, Josh.
You think there's going to be an Intercontinental Championship match with Shinsuke and Braun Strowman, who are both in the Royal Rumble?
Mm-hmm. Let me see. We had Rusev and somebody else who wrestled during the kickoff show last year, and they ended up being in the Royal Rumble later on in the night. So, there's a connection that could, or that's a formula that they've currently used. All right. I took one quick glance. I saw your Rumble winner and then not your other picks. So let's start off with the men's Royal Rumble match, since I'm going to be making my picks official on the year. Who do you got and why?
Well, I wish I could say that there was some sort of special science to my pick, but I'm just looking at the wave of momentum that is coming. And if there's one face that I can see, new face, so to speak, going into the main event of WrestleMania that hasn't been there before, that's what I mean by new face, it's Drew McIntyre. I have Drew taking it all.
Okay. I really wanted to go with what I've been talking to you about in the last couple of weeks,
Keith Lee?
especially last week's episode. But, man, see, Drew was going to be my third. It was Keith Lee, Roman Reigns, and Drew McIntyre. So unless they decide to go with the safe pick and go with Roman, which would piss off everybody. And as much as I want Keith Lee, even not only that, but CM Punk also picked Keith Lee to win the Rumble. And I know Drew McIntyre is a popular pick. You know what? Screw it. I don't even know if he's actually in it. I'm going to go with Keith Lee. I was going to say Drew McIntyre, but I'm going to go with Keith Lee.
As of this point in time, Keith Lee has not been announced for the Royal Rumble. In fact, 27 of the 30 entrants have been announced. 12 from SmackDown, 15 from Raw, nothing from NXT, and I don't know what to make of that. Especially since, just to talk about the Rumble match for a second, we got Roman and King Corbin in the Rumble, as well as... I just have to scroll up a little bit.
So here's the thing. They said that NXT was going to have a important role in the Royal Rumble. But it looks like it's more so the women's match than the men's match. Because they certainly can get away with going 10, 10, and 10 for each of the three brands. Or even go 12, 12, and 6 for NXT. I would even buy that. But they're not even doing that. It's just crazy, which is why if there's only 3 slots left, then it's probably going to be Adam Cole, Keith Lee, and it's either going to be Donovan Dijakovic, Tommaso Ciampa, or Johnny Gargano. One of those 4 guys. Or what's his name? Punishment Martinez, his name. Him.
Damian Priest?
Yeah. So it's going to be one of those 5 guys. Out of those last 3 spots, it's probably going to be 2 out of those 5 guys. Because I do believe it's going to be one surprise entrant that's not actually signed with WWE or that is unknown, and then we're just only going to get 2 guys from NXT in the entire Rumble out of that pool of 5. That's what I'm guessing.
And I think at least one of those spots is going to be a non-NXT and non-Raw, non-SmackDown surprise entrant, a free agent.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Yeah, I'm.
A lot of people seem to think it's Edge or CM Punk. I'm like, no.
That would be weird. I mean, It would be a hell of a moment, but it would be weird. Especially considering, it's a lot that could have gone to somebody that.
Can I make a bold? You want to make a bold prediction?
Yeah, let's make bold predictions.
Okay. You want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I don't know what we're doing, so you go first.
Okay. My bold prediction for the surprise entrant, like the super ultra surprise entrant.
Okay.
They're not going to be able to use his name because we all know how WWE likes to, change up names. But the man currently known as Killer Cross will be in the Royal Rumble. It's my super ultra secret surprise pick. Since his other half, Scarlett Bordeaux, is currently in NXT. So it makes sense. And Triple H is very, very, very high on him.
Okay. That is somewhat plausible.
I mean, Killer Cross versus Drew McIntyre? Oh. Do it.
My super daring, bold prediction for the...
Toru Yano!
No. Although, no. No. I will just say, Chris Jericho.
Okay.
The AEW invasion begins tomorrow.
Oh, boy. Okay. At least we know who's taking it seriously.
Hey, you said bold. Doesn't get any more bold than that.
Right. Okay. So, who you got winning again?
Drew McIntyre.
Okay, I got Keith Lee. Match number 2 on the docket. Women's Royal Rumble match. I'm going to go with Shayna Baszler. Remember when I said last week if Ronda Rousey came back, she's going to win? But since we're going off of more realistic things, I'm just going to go with Shayna. I do see Shayna going in there and winning. I imagine that this match will have the most NXT influence in it. I do also see Rhea Ripley in this match, but I think it's time for Shayna. I don't know the results. When this podcast started, it was I was looking on Twitter. It was the Rhea Ripley versus Toni Storm match on Worlds Collide when this podcast started. And like I said, I'm waiting till way later on after dinner to watch that show. So I do think we'll have Rhea Ripley in that match as well tomorrow, but I'm just going to say Shayna. I think Shayna is going to get called up next week on the main roster. As far as special guest or big surprise, I'm going to stick with Ronda Rousey. And if she's involved, what do you know? Maybe we'll get Shayna and Rousey staring off at each other at the end of the match, and it'll come down to that too. I think that'll be a tremendous moment. But I'm just going to stick with Shayna Baszler.
My pick is also Shayna Baszler for basically, the same reasons. It's going to be pretty cool.
Wow. I thought you were going to go with what's her name? Nikki Cross.
Oh, she knows how I feel. It's all good. But she wants me to make sure I get the point. So
Okay.
pay-per-view
All right.
predictions league is all important.
Okay.
I mean, when I won the 2019 Backstage Slam Fantasy Football League as champion, no one seemed to give a hoot that I won. But
It's not surprising people winning their own leagues.
hey, I went into the playoffs the 4th seed, and then
Okay.
I came back and won it all. But you know what I heard about that weekend? You want to know what I heard about? Oh, you won the fantasy football league? Cool. You're still losing in the pay-per-view prediction league. Like, yeah. That's I keep forgetting. That's the important one. So, got to get that point. Shayna Baszler, and no, I wouldn't be surprised if Ronda shows up for her big return, and I would love it if Shayna eliminated her, and they could set up a WrestleMania match. Ronda, Shayna. Ronda's like, yeah, you happen to throw me over the top rope, but you can't beat me. That kind of
There's
thing.
another interesting thing is Taya Valkyrie's Impact contract will be up later on this summer, so she could end up with her husband on WWE.
Maybe. But is the WWE really interested in hiring, spouses and whatnot?
They're interested in getting former championship champions and anything that they can get away from AEW because it's Vince. All right. So you're gonna stick with Ronda as well as your surprise entrant for the Women's Rumble, or is it somebody else?
I'm going to go with somebody else just because.
Sexy
Ronda.
star.
Well, that would be a surprise, wouldn't it?
Let me guess. Since you're gonna go with Chris Jericho, you're gonna go with Tessa Blanchard, just as flamboyant.
No, that seems unrealistic.
Come on, John.
No, I'll say
Riho.
no, Kylie Ray.
Okay.
And then her and Bayley stare at each other.
Okay. All right, third match on the docket is for the WWE Universal Championship. It is a strap match between Daniel Bryan versus The Fiend Bray Wyatt. I think this is going to be my lock of the night. I'm going to go The Fiend Bray Wyatt in an all red light district boring snooze fest.
Okay. I'm also choosing Bray Wyatt, except I'm going to call it a red light instant classic that is going to drop jaws and give us viewers a mat-based spectacle that has never been seen before.
Is Kane going to come out and help Daniel Bryan?
Maybe?
Considering he was in an episode of SmackDown recently.
Maybe.
It's like, is this 2009? No, it's 2020. Okay. Singles match for the WWE Raw Women's Championship. Becky Lynch versus Asuka. I'm gonna say Becky Lynch retains via DQ.
So Asuka wins?
No,
Or Asuka
Becky
gets
Lynch will
DQ'd?
retain. Yeah, Asuka gets DQ'd. It's going to be outside interference.
No way Kairi Sane would do that.
Oh yeah, she would.
Yeah, maybe, probably. Yeah, Becky Lynch retains. That's my pick, Becky.
Okay. Falls Count Anywhere match. Roman Reigns versus King Corbin. I'm gonna go with Roman Reigns.
Interesting choice. I think
They should have this match on the honest. They should have this match on the kickoff show.
They should have this match during the Rumble. Just throw out an extra referee and let them go at it in the middle of the Rumble.
Yeah.
That would make things interesting.
You know what's interesting is whoever ends up winning this match, since both of them are going to be in the Royal Rumble, whoever loses this match is going to be the one that's going to be eliminating the other in the Royal Rumble to keep the story going. I'm telling you.
Well, you know where my principles stand when it comes to Roman Reigns, so I have to. I have to pick. I have to pick King Corbin.
Yeah. If Roman Reigns stands a shot at winning the Royal Rumble, King Corbin has to win this match. Therefore, Roman can get later on in that night. Roman can get some retribution by eliminating Corbin.
Well, he won the thing that counts.
What's that?
Said he won the thing that counts.
Right. Next match is a match that I'm also hoping that it's on the kickoff show. It's Shorty G versus Sheamus. I got Sheamus.
Sheamus. I don't think there really needs to be any more said about that.
Yeah. Singles match for the WWE Women's Championship. Bayley defending against Lacey Evans. This might be a sleeper match of the night.
No.
You don't think so?
No.
I think it has a chance to be top 2.
No.
I'm trying to give you some leeway with your obsession with Bayley here.
It's not an obsession. Man. It's not an obsession.
You tossed Nikki Cross aside, and now you're tossing Bayley aside. I'm trying to give you the ultimate segue here.
Oh, I'm picking Bayley.
I'm not serious when I said this is going to be the top 2 sleeper. I'm just trying to give you that segue, man.
Oh, if anything happens to where this is not a great match, it's all Lacey Evans' fault. We know this.
No, to be honest though, since they turned her babyface, not only has her in ring been a lot better, but her promo is a lot better as well. I just can't explain it. I think she's improved.
You know what?
I don't think she wins the title here. I think if she wins the title, it'll be later on down the line. It's not her time yet, because I do believe I see Bayley and Sasha wrestling at WrestleMania for the SmackDown Women's Championship.
Now, here's the thing. If anything goes wrong with this match, it's not going to be my evil sweetheart Bayley that takes the fall. Do you understand? Lacey Evans will be at fault.
Right. Okay.
And it's not an obsession. If you have more than 8 posters, it's an obsession. I have 7. That means it's just fandom.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Final match on the docket. Like I said, I was kind of hoping that they would add more after SmackDown. They didn't. It is for the United States Championship. Andrade champion defending against Humberto Carrillo, and this would be what, their 5th, 6th match together since Humberto got called up to the main roster.
Yeah.
This, in all seriousness, I think this may be match of the night, especially from a one-on-one and nothing holding them back standpoint.
Mhm.
I see seriously fun in this match, but I'm gonna go with Andrade.
I strangely enough went the opposite direction. I do think it's
Really?
going to be the sleeper match of the night, and it's going to be one that goes to Humberto Carrillo. Why? Because he's cool. I know I should have some more analytical answer for that, but I don't. I just think Humberto is going to wind up winning this one, and it's going to be nice to watch them go at it without commercial breaks.
All right.
Who are we kidding? It's probably going to get commercial breaks anyway.
All right, so that is our picks for the Royal Rumble. Like I said, for those of you guys that are in the pay-per-view predictions league and are listening or watching this anywhere between now and Sunday morning, please go ahead and submit your picks before the kickoff show. Any additional matches added on the kickoff show will not be counted. We will go with the 8 here. If they add any matches before the kickoff show, we're not going to be adding them. It's just not feasible because we know that not everybody can log in on Discord on Sundays, as we've seen in recent pay-per-views. So we're just going to go with these 8 matches. Good luck to everybody. You guys can follow Josh at Skit Comic. And you can follow me at YoBroMMO on Twitter. If you guys would like to continue supporting us on Patreon for just $1 a month, you can go to patreon.com/YoBroMMO. You can subscribe for $1, $5, $10, or $20 a month. We currently have 5 Patreons. One at the $20 range, one at the $5, and 3 at the $1 range. Go ahead and join the group. You guys will be able to have exclusive interviews with Josh and I on voice chat. And you may be featured in a future episode and get to co-host a podcast with both Josh and I if you guys are privy to doing so. So go ahead and check us out at patreon.com/YoBroMMO. With that said, before we go off the air, Josh, I have anywhere between 1 hour and 1 hour and 50 before I leave for dinner.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be enough time to record that the podcast, the other podcast?
Well, that depends on how well you remember 2019.
Are you going to lead the show and then I can jump in?
Sure can.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
Well, before you do that, go ahead and plug that show and what it's about.
All right. First, before I do that, I just wanted to say, one, I'm not going to hit around the shout-outs. Amber, I know you're listening. So, big shout-out to Amber, who... one of our favorite listeners and one of my nearest and dearest friends. In fact, she and I are going to be making the trek down to Tampa for WrestleMania this year. So, nice. You have been shouted out. Shout. Shout. Let it all out. These... I digress. So,
it's one of my favorite remakes right there.
Double digressing. Love you, Amber. Can't wait to see you in Tampa.
Mad
Next.
Dogs.
SCOP, episode number 1, the rebooting of Simicore Studios' oldest and one of the best series that we've ever done. Unfortunately, good old Kevin won't be along for this ride. But SCOP 2020 soft rebooted during a 24-hour podcast marathon last weekend with a 2-hour talk about the Oscars. That wasn't what was on the run sheet, by the way. It wasn't supposed to be a 2-hour talk about the Oscars. I was going to get to my favorite things of 2019 with Jen, but again, we got sidetracked. We took the first topic and went the distance. So
Nice.
This week, during the reboot, we're going to talk about all of the things that we loved about 2019 television and movies, especially. It doesn't have to be something that premiered, as far as television goes. But the movies, yeah. Released in 2019, your favorite movies that were released in 2019. If you want to join us for that conversation, hey, sit tight. In about 5 minutes, maybe 10, we will get this show on the road once again for a live shot, and you can leave your favorite movies and TV shows in the chat. So be sure that you tune in and find out what we loved about 2019, and then do it weekly, because SCOP is back, and it's here to stay. The Simicore official podcast is back, baby.
With that
Take us
said,
out.
too sweet. Hit that outro.
Too sweet.